So there's this stigma attached to video games that when someone is addicted to video games, we immediately assume that this guy has no life. No, this guy's a loser. But we don't pry deeper into the question as to why this man or boy first got addicted to video games in the first place. And people just say that playing games is just a dopamine inducing activity, that's why we get addicted. Today I have a theory about why we get that ecstatic feeling when playing video games and why people get addicted to video games, especially those people who are neglected by society. So I like playing football, not the American one, but the European football. There's an indescribable joy when I step onto the large green field and wait for the game to start. It's like going on an adventure with friends, and our opponents are the wizards and trolls that we have to defeat to get to our destination, much like The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings. And I have had the same feelings whenever I played video games with friends. I'm sure you could relate to that moment when, before the game is starting, those few seconds where you feel wild and free and you think about the endless possibilities. Your heart is in raptures in that moment and you feel invincible grouped with your squad. And there's an even greater joy when you get to carry your team. For example, you're losing and suddenly at the last second you're running towards the goal and shoot the ball into the back of the net and suddenly you win. Or when you're faced in a 4 versus 1 situation, you clutch to win the game for the boys. And suddenly the world turns into heaven. And I've inquired into why that is. Came up with a theory of why we feel ecstatic when we play video games or sports and why we strive to do better in those activities. You see, people don't communicate as often as they used to back in the day. And we have become more reclusive thanks to technology. You don't like hanging out with people and making friends. Sure, you could stay at home and watch movies, or you could browse the internet for cool cat videos. You can do that because technology has made it possible for us to create our virtual companions that could fill the emptiness of life. But our forefathers were forced to interact with others and sort of mingle with each other because they had no choice. But our ancestors were forced to interact and join a community, a tribe, or a brotherhood, if you like. And they have been doing that for thousands of years, and that is the main reason that they have survived. A wild beast can rip a man to shreds easily, but faced with a group of men who wield spears, that's a different game. So this herd mentality, this mindset to group up with other people and fight for our survival, and it has been ingrained in our mind for a long time. For generations, men have walked beside each other, united to survive the harsh lands and to push back the wild predators. And not only that, they have fought against their enemies or competitors for territories. War isn't a new thing, it's one of the primal instincts of men and beasts alike. Men have been fighting each other for territories all the time, and each man has considered his comrades or his brothers who fought beside him as more than a brother. Honor and glory went to the men who displayed greater courage on the battlefield. So each man strove to outdo each other in killing more enemies, to carry their brothers to victory against their foes. Have you noticed the similarities yet between that and playing video games or winning in sports? Though we don't kill men in sports, we do torment them physically when we try to win. And we kill virtual men in video games. As we have progressed, we have stopped the need for basic survival. Now we are not threatened by wild predators when we walk outside our homes, but the instinct is a part of who we are. It wants us to roam around, make new friends, go on adventures, and vanquish foes or competitors, just like our ancestors did. So now we have found a substitute for that. Instead of wielding swords or spears, now we have keyboards, mouses, or joysticks for that matter, or footballs or cricket bats. We want to improve in video games or sports because we want to feel important or acknowledged. We want to feel that we are good, just like our ancestors did by showing courage on the battlefield or just routing predators to save their neighbors. We want society to value us as individuals who are useful, but because sometimes that doesn't happen, we seek that approbation from video games or sports, especially from our teammates when we carry them through a tough ordeal through games or sports. We want the praise, we want the pat on the shoulders. We yearn to hear that we are good or useful. Just like some people want to earn respect and be important by becoming famous or rich. Or artists who create art despite not earning, so that if they don't succeed in this life, they might get a posthumous success. So playing games is a substitute for our instincts to achieve and make ourselves commendable. It reminds us that we weren't made to slave all day and sit in a square box and eat and sleep and shit and be content with it. And when society develops a certain way of life where people are not valued based on their characters but their material gains, individuals seek to find their worth in different ways. For example, winning in video games and sports is an alternative, like a substitute battle in which we prove our worth. So let me know what you think about this video or theory. And comment down below if you'd like to see more videos of this kind instead of me just sitting in front of a camera and talking.